If this message reaches you, it is meant for you. For anyone seeking inner peace today, you are not the mind. Listen. Most people spend their whole lives talking at God, not with God. We plead, bargain, and negotiate like we're in some cosmic courtroom. God, please fix this. Please send that. Please change them. And year after year, nothing really shifts inside. The bills still scare us. The diagnosis still haunts us. The loneliness still crawls into bed at night, so we assume God is silent, or worse, ignoring us. But Joel Goldsmith pointed to something radically different, and if you're hearing this, maybe your soul is finally ready for it. What if God has never once withheld anything from you? What if the love, the guidance, the abundance, the healing you keep begging for are already here right now, quietly waiting for you to receive them? That's the shift we're exploring today, moving from asking to receiving, from begging at the door to realizing you already live inside the house of God. This isn't think positive and your life will change. This is about a deep, inner rearranging of consciousness that slowly rewires the way you live, pray, and breathe. Think of it like this. The sun doesn't decide who to shine on. It just shines. The only variable is whether the blinds are open or shut. Joel's teaching is simple but uncomfortable to the ego. God is like that sun, always shining, always pouring. Our anxious, begging mind is what pulls the blinds closed. So how do we open them? Let's start with the heart of this message. When your prayer is filled with, "Please, give me," you are quietly announcing to yourself, "I don't have. I'm alone. I'm separate." You might be saying "Lord" with your lips, but your energy is saying, "I am lacking." That vibration of lack becomes the lens you see life through. You start to read every delay as rejection, every challenge as proof that God has forgotten you. Receiving prayer sounds completely different. It isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. It sounds more like, "I open. I allow. I trust what is already present." You shift from demanding God show up to recognizing God is already here, breathing you, beating your heart, guiding your steps even when you feel lost. Let me bring this down from theory into real life. Emily grew up in a small town in Ohio, raised in church every Sunday. When the pandemic hit, she lost her job in hospitality. Overnight, she went from paying her bills comfortably to choosing between groceries and rent. Every night she cried on her living room floor, Bible in one hand, overdue notices in the other. "God, please, please send me a miracle," she would sob. Open a door. Any door. Months passed. Nothing. Just more anxiety, more humiliation asking her parents for help, more scrolling through job listings at 2 a.m. One night, exhausted, she stumbled across a recording of a Joel Goldsmith talk. The line that grabbed her heart was this: "God is not your supplier. God is your life." Supply flows naturally when you stop insisting you are separate. She didn't understand it, but she felt it. The next morning, instead of launching straight into her usual desperate prayer, she tried something new. She sat on the edge of her bed, placed both hands over her heart, and whispered, "God, I'm tired of begging. I don't know how to do this, but for these next few minutes, I choose to receive what you are already giving. I don't even know what that is, but I'm open." She didn't visualize checks in the mail. She didn't force affirmations. She just breathed. For 10 minutes, she let herself imagine that maybe, just maybe, she wasn't abandoned. That perhaps in ways she couldn't yet see, she was being carried. Nothing magical happened that day. No winning lottery ticket, no mysterious rich uncle. But something subtle shifted inside. The knot in her stomach loosened. She noticed a little more space between her thoughts. Over the next weeks, she repeated this quiet receiving practice every morning, and every time panic rose. Then life started to move. An old coworker she hadn't spoken to in years messaged her on Facebook about a temporary remote position. One temp job turned into a full-time role in a new field she secretly wanted to explore. Was this God finally answering her prayer? Or was it Emily finally relaxing enough to hear the guidance that had been whispering the entire time? She will tell you it was the second. The job was a blessing, she says, but the real miracle was that I stopped needing proof that God loved me. I started living as if that love was already here. That's what receiving does. It doesn't always rearrange your circumstances overnight. It rearranges you. Let's look at another story, this time in the realm of health. Michael, a 52-year-old firefighter from Texas, spent years fighting a chronic heart condition. He believed in prayer. He asked every church he knew to stand in the gap for him. He went to healing services, listened to sermons about miracles, memorized every verse about God's power to heal. And yet his body felt like a battleground. Each doctor's visit brought new medications, new side effects, new fear. One afternoon, after another exhausting hospital checkup, he sat alone in his truck and finally broke. God, what am I doing wrong? He cried, I've been faithful. I've asked. I've believed. Why wouldn't you heal me? A few days later, a friend sent him a book by Goldsmith. One simple idea pierced his heart. Stop trying to get God to heal you and start resting in the fact that divine life is already the truth of you. Not someday, now. So he experimented. At night, when fear was loudest, instead of shouting healing scriptures over his body like a weapon, he laid one hand on his chest and said quietly, I'm not here to fight you, God. I'm here to receive you. If divine life truly fills every cell, let me become aware of it. I don't know how. I just open. Some nights he felt nothing. Other nights he sensed a warm, quiet peace spread through his chest. His medical journey took time, months of treatment, lifestyle changes, and prayer. But something fundamental changed. He stopped seeing his body as a broken object God needed to fix, and started seeing it as a place where God was already present. Eventually, his cardiologist called his recovery unexpectedly strong. Michael calls it finally getting out of God's way. Receiving is not pretending your pain doesn't exist. It's refusing to put your pain in the center of the universe. It's letting God, not the diagnosis, be the biggest reality in the room. So how do you begin to shift from asking to receiving in your everyday life? Start small. Tomorrow morning, before you reach for your phone, place your feet on the floor and whisper, God, I open myself to what you are already pouring into this day. I don't have to earn your love. I don't have to convince you. I'm just here to receive. Then sit in silence for 5 minutes. Let your breath be your prayer. When your mind starts scripting requests, gently return to, I receive. You're not failing if you get distracted. You're just learning a new spiritual language. During the day, create tiny receiving pauses. Before a tough meeting, instead of God, please don't let me mess this up, try, God, I receive your calm and wisdom in this room. Before a difficult conversation with your spouse or child, try, I receive the love that is already here between us, even if I can't feel it yet. Let me embody it. This is not about controlling outcomes. This is about changing who you are as you walk into them. There will be challenges. Your ego will hate this. The ego loves asking because asking feels active, like you're managing God. Receiving feels like surrender. It will whisper, "You're doing nothing. You're being lazy. You're giving up." But in truth, you're giving up the illusion that you were ever in charge of the universe. You'll also face delay. You may practice receiving for days or weeks, and your outer life may look exactly the same. Bills still due. Body still hurting. Relationships still fragile. This is where most people quit. They say, "See, it doesn't work," and go back to trying to bribe God with promises and deals. But remember, in Joel's language, consciousness shifts before conditions do. The roots change before the fruit looks different. Receiving is not a magic wand. It's a new way of being that slowly remaps your nervous system from fear to trust. And then there's the social pressure. In many American churches, if you say, "I don't really ask God for things anymore," people will look at you like you've lost your faith. They'll quote, "Ask and it shall be given," and wonder if you've gone off the deep end. You don't have to argue. You don't have to explain Joel Goldsmith to anyone. Let your life become the explanation. You can simply say, "I'm learning to rest more in God's presence and trust that what I truly need is already given." That language most hearts can hear. As this practice deepens, something beautiful happens. You stop coming to God only when there is a crisis. Prayer stops being a 911 call and becomes the air you live in. You find yourself saying, in quiet moments doing the dishes or driving home at night, "Thank you, God, that you are here. I receive this breath. I receive this moment." You stop waiting for a future miracle and start recognizing the miracle of right now, that you are being lived by a presence larger than your fear. Eventually, your identity shifts. You're no longer the spiritual beggar sitting on the curb outside heaven's gate, hoping someone notices you. You begin to live as a son, a daughter, inside the house. You realize, everything I thought I had to get from God, I already share with God because God is the very life in me. From that place, even your actions change. You still work. You still make phone calls, go to the doctor, show up for your responsibilities. But you move from pressure to participation. You're not pushing the river anymore. You're letting yourself be carried by it. And here's the secret most people miss. When you live in receiving, you naturally become a giver. Think about it. When you truly feel held, you start holding others differently. When you feel provided for, you loosen your grip on what you own. You become the friend who listens without fixing, the coworker who brings peace into chaotic rooms, the family member who doesn't need to win every argument. People may not know why, but they feel safer around you. What they're feeling is not your personality. It has the presence you've been quietly receiving day after day. So as we close, I want to talk directly to you. Maybe you're watching this with tears in your eyes because you recognize yourself in Emily, in Michael, in countless unnamed souls who are tired of begging heaven for things that never seem to come. Maybe part of you is angry at God and another part is just exhausted. If that's you, this is your invitation. You don't have to know how to do it perfectly. You don't have to feel spiritual or worthy. Right where you are, with whatever mess is in your life, you can begin. Tonight, when the lights are off and the house is quiet, place a hand on your heart and whisper, "God, if it's true that you've never left me, if it's true that your love, your guidance, your supply are already here. Then for these few moments, I choose to stop asking. I choose to receive. Show me, in your own way, that I am not alone. And then don't try to make anything happen. Just breathe. Just be. Receiving begins with that simple, courageous willingness to stop fighting and start opening. If this message has touched something deep in you, don't let it be just another video you scroll past. Let it be a turning point. If you feel called, tap like so this teaching can reach someone else who is begging tonight and needs to hear that they are already loved. Subscribe to this channel for more Joel Goldsmith-inspired teachings and practical tools for living from presence, not fear. And in the comments, share. What are you most ready to stop asking for and start receiving? Remember, you are not the mind. You are not the fear. You are the awareness that can choose, in this very moment, to open the blinds and let the light in. God has always been giving. Now, it's your time to receive.